gets Yana Machla, and they say they have we know for a fact there's something that cures. It's over there. You're gonna start saying, "Oh boy, oh boy." None of this Yana Machla stuff. That's for after the share.
Let's go.
All right, we ready? Ruben? Okay, today's Daf Nun Ches. We're starting from Daf Nun Zayin Amud Beis. Noyach. Oh, Parshas Noyach. Very good. Daf Noyach. Beautiful. Last night we learned that if somebody brings any type of carbon, the part of the carbon that's meant for the kohanim to eat, he's over on a lav. We learned L'saktiru mimenu ishel Hashem. Mimenu means if there's a part that goes on the mizbeach, part of it, mimenu, from it, that goes on the mizbeach, the leftover. If you decide to put the leftover that belongs to the kohen on the mizbeach, you're not a tzaddik, you're a rasha. The kohen on the mizbeach, you're not a tzaddik, you're a rasha. You get it, there's a lav. Says the Gemara, we're holding 7 lines from the bottom. Itmar. Hamalim mekulam al gabe hakevesh. Now we're talking about he takes this meat and he walks up the ramp. And that's it, he stops there. Last night we discussed, well, there was something else that we discussed, bringing all the way up to the mizbeach. But over here we're talking about going up the ramp. Rabbi Yochanan Omar Chayav. Rabbi Elazar Omar Patur. Rabbi Yochanan Omar Chayav the Sanyo Mizbeach. It says in the pasuk Mizbeach Eini Elo Mizbeach Kevesh Minayin. How do I know that the ramp is part of the Mizbeach for this Isser Tam Lo Yamar Ve'el HaMizbeach Lo Yalu? You shouldn't go up. You shouldn't even start climbing. Lo Yalu. Just going up the ramp with the meat that's meant for the kohanim, you're over. Rabbi Elazar Amar Patur, my time, Domakro, Sa'or Udvash, Korban Reishis Takrivu Oisam. Oh, this means this maybe. Oisam Hu de Rabbi Lach, Kevesh Kemizbeach, Avamidach Miloi. In other words, Rabbi Elazar agrees that this drush is a good drasha of Loyalu. But he says that it's referring to this pasuk, Yichol Sar v'chol Dvash Lo Yitaktiru. And the next pasuk, this is pasuk Yud Aleph. Over here it says Sar Udvash. The next pasuk says Korban Reishis Takrivu Oisam Lashem Loyalu L'Reach Nichayach. Shouldn't go on what? The pasuk before Yichol Sar v'chol Dvash. Okay, Lo Yalu is referring to Sar Dvash and not all the other korbanos for a lav.
Is this Vela Mizbeach and not the Kiddush? That's maybe?
Lo Yalu tells us the
Kevish.
Kevish. Lo Yalu is the Kevish. But what? The Sar Dvash is the Isser and not korbanos.
So Sar Dvash goes to Kevish Yuchayim.
Yeah. Sar Dvash going up to Kevish you'd be chayiv. But the other stuff, you have a chatos, you have the steak of the chatos that belongs to the kohen, and you bring it up the ramp. For that you're not chayiv, because the pasuk Lo Yalu doesn't refer to it.
Because the ramp is not the mizbeach.
Not because the ramp is not the mizbeach. That the ramp is the mizbeach, we said it is because it says Lo Yalu. Don't even start ascending. But what is it referring to? You can't just, it's not a general thing. What if I bring milk up the ramp? What if Lo Yalu is referring to the pasuk right before of Ki Chol Sa'or v'chol Dvash. The only time a ramp is considered the mizbeach itself is for honey and yeast. Those two things. Honey referring to the honey of a dates. Says the Gemara, it says Oisam in red, right over here. Only those, Sa'or and Dvash, and nothing else. Rabbi Yochanan, Hay Oisam my Ovedle. So Rabbi Yochanan who's Mecholik, and he says everything that goes up onto the ramp is chayiv, even a chatos, whatever it is, all the things, kachim kalam, the whole list of animals that we had yesterday. Menachos, everything. But what does he do with Oisam? Oisam is a miut. What if a yachid decides to donate shtei lechem? Shtei lechem comes with the on Shavuos, with the two kvasim. He decides he wants to do the same thing. He wants to bring in a dava shtei lechem. V'koyrani ba and l'chayra moitza sifasecha tishmer v'asisa. Once you promise something, you must keep it. And Mamela, he has to keep it because he said he's going to bring shtei lechem. Says the Gemara, Tamaloymar korban reishis takrivu. What does takrivu mean? It doesn't say takriv. Takrivu is lashon rabbim. It means the tzibur. Only the tzibur can do it. Tzibur mati l'cha v'lo yochid. Yochal lo yeh yochid. Maybe we're still getting there. In other words, what does Rabbi Yochanan do with the word oisam? Yochal lo yeh yochid mevi. Sheinu mevi chayvasik yotzba. I'll say, you know what? The reason why an individual can't bring shtei lechem is because there's nowhere else in the Torah that an individual brings two breads. Aval yeh tzibur mevi. What if the whole tzibur together, they all decided one day it's not going well, let's bring shtei lechem. It's Chanukah, let's bring shtei lechem. But shtei lechem goes on Shavuos. So maybe they could bring it. That's why Tamaloymar oisam. So that's what Rabbi Yochanan does with the word oisam.
That what? That they can't.
That they cannot bring, they can only bring shtei lechem on Shavuos. Uma yesh lecha lahavi. Now, what do you bring? The Torah says, stop, a general question. Torah says you bring sa'ar dvash. When do you bring sa'ar dvash? Ma yesh lecha lahavi shtei lechem min asar ubikurim min advash. The only time that the tzibur brings something from sa'ar is shtei lechem. And when you bring bikurim from your fruit. Reish is bikur ad mascha, so it includes dvash. That's when you bring dvash. Now, just lechem aponim doesn't go on the mizbeach. Lechem aponim, it's not what? It's not sor, right? Not sor. Sorry, not nothing to do with mizbeach. It's not sor. What else is tzibur? Shtei lechem aponim, and that's it.
But the Bikurim is not a korban tzibur. Bikurim is not a korban.
Right, nothing to do.
It's not.
Yeah, but that's.
You said takrivu is. No, takrivu is to me mind. Yochid. But you can still bring Bikurim.
Yeah.
It's only going on shtei lechem, not on Bikurim.
Correct.
Weird.
Zog the Gemara. Ushtei alechem lo yikrivu nedava. Are you sure that you can't bring the two breads of Shavuos as an adava? Vatanya im nemar kol sa'ar, loma nemar kol dvash. Kol sa'ar would include the entire shear. So let's say the shear is, we're going to see in a second what the shear is, but let's say it's a kmitza. You do kmitza. So it says kol sa'ar, including even a half a kmitza. You can't bring. Loma nemar kol dvash. So l'chayr should say kol sa'ar udvash. Why does the Torah stop? Kol sa'ar and then kol dvash again. V'im nemar kol dvash. Lo menemar kol sar, mipnei sheyesh b'sar mashem b'dvash. There's a kula that there's by sar that we don't have by dvash. V'yesh b'dvash mashem b'sar, and there's a kula in sar. Sar hutar miklaloi b'migdash. Dvash lehutar miklaloi b'migdash. We're going to explain in a second. There's a kula that sar sometimes is mutter in the Beis Hamikdash. Dvash is never allowed in the Beis Hamikdash. You're never allowed to bring dates into the Beis Hamikdash. Onto the Mizbeach. Hutzach loymar kol sa'ar, hutzach loymar kol devash.
Whoa. Menachos.
Oh. Shkoyach. Nobody else come. You have to ruin it? Okay, fine. We'll go back. What?
Menachos.
Oh.
Let's go. Dvash.
V'vnei sheyesh b'sor ma'ashem b'dvash v'yesh b'dvash ma'ashem b'sor. Sa'ar huta miklali b'migdosh, dvash lo huta miklali b'migdosh. Dvash huta b'shiyorei menachos. Dvash has a kula that if we took a kmitza out of the mincha, the rest goes to the kohanim. The kohanim can use the honey, they can mix it into the mincha, no problem. You can't put dvash onto the mizbeach, but the shiyori mincha, whatever is left over for the kohanim, they can use it, they can make food out of it, they could be metagin, Rashi says, they could fry it with the honey. Sa'ar lehuta b'shiyar menachos. But yeast, you can never put it in the leftover mincha. That we said yesterday. We learned about the shiyar menachos that you can add chametz to it. Havabnei sheyesh b'sa'ar mashem b'dvash v'yesh b'dvash mashem b'sa'ar hutzach loymar kol sa'ar v'hutzach loymar kol dvash. since each one has a kula, so I think that this chumrah of a partial shear only applies to the one that's chamor, but the one that's kal not, or fakert, the one that's kal, even a partial shear maybe is also. So now just to explain, what does it mean that yeast is mutter sometimes in the Beis Hamikdash? L'chayra lav shtei halechem de karva nedava. So now we're going to prove where is it possible to have a situation where yeast is mutter in the Beis Hamikdash? Now what about the two lechem itself? The two lechem itself, maybe that is where it's mutter. So says Rashi, look quickly at Rashi, smack in the middle of the page. Lav shtei alechem de karva nedava, ba mizbeach. Where can you bring shtei alechem with yeast? Maybe benedava. Di mahanach de chayva. If it's talking about the real two lechem, lematzi lemeimar. Da lehuda b'mikdash lekarva mizbeach. It doesn't go on the mizbeach. Shtei alechem is eaten. So where do you have a case that you put sa'ar, yeast, on the mizbeach, l'chayra, in the one case that a person decided to bring shtei lechem as an adava, and that would be a raya that I could bring shtei lechem as an adava. You told me you can't bring shtei lechem as an adava. The only way I could figure out a situation where I put yeast on the mizbeach ben adava is what?
But then it's not shtei lechem anymore.
It's the
It's just bread.
right, but he does it as shtei lechem. That's what we have always. If somebody wants to mimic a certain carbon, he says, I'm going to bring lechem upon him. Yeah, it's not lechem upon him. I'm bringing 12 lechamim as lechem upon him onto the mizbeach. Yeah, it's not it, but it's similar to it. Okay, so do we have a source which tells us that you could bring two lechem on the mizbeach as an adava? You said you can't. Omer Rav Amram loi. No, you can never bring two lechem, even as an adava. So what does it mean that I bring sar? Likarei v'mahem. It's referring to what goes together with the shtei alechem. The two kvasim that go together with shtei alechem, they go onto the mizbeach. That's what we're referring to, not you bringing in the dava. Right. So in Mela, in that case of shtei alechem that go together with the karbanos, that's huta miklaloi. As the Gemara, so what a minute. So you're telling me that the two breads never go on the mizbeach, but their partner goes on the mizbeach. The two karbanos go on the mizbeach. So yeah, we're not talking about the breads, we're talking about what goes together with it. That's not fair. Ihachi bikurim nami. So you tell me that bikurim never goes on the mizbeach, this nan, but bikurim has a partner also. Hagoizolois shagabi asalim. When the Mishnah describes how you bring the bikurim to Beis Hamikdash, it says that you bring the bikurim, and on top of the basket they had the birds, goizolois. And what happens with them? Hayu oilois. They were oila, carbon oila. So maybe say the same thing. Bikurim does go on the mizbeach. What? The oila. If you want to cheat, you can cheat also by so to speak, by bikurim also. If you're not considering the actual date, but the partner of the date, which is the bird, you're doing it before by the shtei alechem. You're saying we're not talking about the bread, we're talking about the keves that goes with the bread. So we're not talking about the date, we're talking about the bird. Says the Gemara, no, there is no chiyuv to bring birds with bikurim. Hanu la'ata bikurim mudasu. Yes, you bring birds and you mark them as the oila, but it's not really part of the bikurim. People did it to beautify the bikurim, but it's not part of the bikurim. So in Mela, it doesn't work. It's not a good kasha. So we just finished discussing somebody who brings up a chatos or other karbanos that he's supposed to be eating. Part of the carbon goes in the mizbeach, that's great. But the part that he's supposed to eat, it's supposed to go to the kohen. He decided to be a big tzaddik and put it on the mizbeach. He's over iser. What about a bird chatos? Not a regular chatos, a bird chatos. What's the halacha with the bird chatos? You shecht it,
Gives me a face. Bug.
Okay, good.
Good Kaddish.
Shkoyach. That's it. He's doing his job. So you have a bird chatos.
Why should it be any difference?
Oh, because the bird chatos, nothing goes on the mizbeach at all. Zero. You shecht it,
So even more.
and the whole thing goes to the kohen. And the Gemara is going to explain what the shaila is. Now, kol shemimenu li'ishim amar rachmana. What did we learn yesterday? It says in the pasuk, kol menachos shetakrivu l'Hashem lo yisrael chametz ki kol sar v'chol dvar shelo yisaktiru mimenu ish l'Hashem. That the Gemara darshan the word mimenu. Anything that some of it goes on the mizbeach, the rest of it you can't put on the mizbeach. What if none of it goes on the mizbeach? So it's not included in this word mimenu. Mimenu, some goes on the mizbeach. Therefore, the rest of it cannot go on the mizbeach. A carbon chatas, which none of it goes on the mizbeach, is not included in this word mimenu. So then, what's the havim? What's the shaila? Then, of course, a chatas oiv, you cannot put it on the mizbeach, or you could put it on the mizbeach. Sorry, you could put it on the mizbeach. Chatas oiv is not mimenu, so you could put it on the mizbeach if you feel like it. Says the Gemara, Oidilma kol sheshmoi karbon, vaynami shmoi karbon. What's going on here? This is Vayikra Perek Beis Pasuk Yud Aleph. In Vayikra Perek Beis Pasuk Yud Beis, the following pasuk it says, Korban Reishis Takrivu Oisam Lashem V'Lemizbech L'Yalu. We had this pasuk before, but it says Korban. Anything that's a Korban. Maybe it includes even a chatas oif that the entirety goes to the kohen. The mice, it's a Korban, so to fit in.
Should not be allowed.
You should not be allowed to put any of it on the mizbeach.
Not that sprinkled onto the side of the mizbeach.
Yeah.
Not considered on the mizbeach. Just like we had a question of the cabbage.
Yeah, but that's just the blood. That's everything you do. That's just a regular zrika.
That is part of the animal.
Yeah, but it's not bus. It's not part of the carbon. It's part of the animal. It's part of the blood, not part of the animal. It's not the basar. Kol shemimenu. You're learning mimenu means even blood. Yeah. I don't think so. Mimenu means from what you eat. What you're doing now, you're eating meat. Part of that meat you put on the mizbeach, I think.
It's also like ktiru mimen. It's the aktaras, after not the zrika.
Not the zrika. Okay, very good.
The whole Russia falls. Everything goes. All goes.
You know what Reuven says? Reuven's saying it says loisaktiru mimenu, the aktara part, not the zrika part. Loisaktiru meaning referring to the aktar of the meat. Oidilma kol sheshmoi karbon, anything that has the name karbon, vaynami shmoi karbon. I'm just saying, where did he get the word carbon? Carbon is the following pasuk, carbon. Could be if you would have learned the Gemara without seeing this piece of paper, you wouldn't have understood where they got carbon from. V'hai nami shmoi carbon. Omar lei.
That's a great paper, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, and anytime you see, I'm not going to say this again, anytime you see a highlight, it just means I didn't get there yet when I printed. So I printed it out in the beginning of the sugya. Then I needed this pasuk again later. So I had a highlight. Usually it should have been in red. You see, some is red. Why is it highlighted?
Screen will solve that.
I think we had the problem later on here. Key. This is from last night. So I just added a little highlight. Yes, thank you. Right. If we have the screen, then we can just highlight it on the computer and we don't have to print. And that's one of the big reasons we're getting the screen. So he told him, you're right. Anything that's called a carbon. Now, just look in Rashi real quickly. It's basically where, in my Gemara at least, it's where it almost becomes a wide line. Kol sheshmoi karbon. Karban reishis, umikra nidrosh lefanav. Rashi brings out a very good point there. This highlighted word, karban, comes in pasuk Yud Beis. This, we said, where was it? Was pasuk Yud Aleph. Mimenu is pasuk Yud Aleph. So what are you telling me? A pasuk later, karban, this, afterwards goes on this. It's not fair. Says Rashi, it is. Because mikra nidrosh lefanav, if I have a word karban, I can use it backwards also, lefanov. Zog the Gemara. What? Vaynamish moy carbon. So the Gemara Ketanoi, Rebbe Lezer Omer, Kol Shemimenu Ishim, Rebbe Kiva Omer, Kol Sheshmoy carbon. So this is machlokes. Do we go with the word mimenu? And mimenu would mean anything that part of it goes on the mizbeach, the rest of it you're not allowed to put on the mizbeach. So that would exclude a carbon of oif chatos, which the whole thing does not go on the mizbeach. There's no mimenu. Or Rebbe Kiva Omer, Kol sheshmoy carbon. No, it has nothing to do with mimenu. It has to do with the word carbon. And memela, a chatas oif is a carbon, and therefore I can't put any of it on the mizbeach, my benayu, and that would be our sugya. And the difference between these two shitas is the bird that's a chatas. Rav Omar, another nafkimina. What's the nafkimina between Rebbe Akiva and Rebbe Eliezer? The one nafkimina that we had until now was chatas oif. According to Rebbe Akiva, it's a carbon, and memela it's also to put on the mizbeach. According to Rebbe Eliezer, it's okay to put on the mizbeach. Rav Amar loig shemesh mitzora ikebenayu. The difference is the one lug of shemen that the mitzora brings. The Tani Levi kol karbanam lerabbis lug shemesh mitzora. The Torah calls the lug shemen a carbon, and if it's a carbon, according to Rebbe Akiva, you're not allowed to put on the mizbeach, and according to Rebbe Eliezer, you are allowed to put on the mizbeach. And just as
You're not allowed to. You just putter if you did.
I'm saying, according to Rebbe Akiva, it's asur. No, since it's a carbon, it's asur to put on the mizbeach, and according to Rebbe Eliezer, it's not
Also
asur.
usher, you just putter.
It is. Why is it asur?
That's not where it goes.
So it's asur.
Didn't he say it's putter? That is putter.
What's the problem? If there's no lav, the Torah is not talking about that. So he did a mitzvah. He was makar something that Kodesh Baruch Hu. Instead of pressing it, he put it on the mizbeach to Hashem. That's what I would think to begin with. That's why you need special policy. It's asur. Now, just as because Amud Beis is very short, so we could do the Rashi over here, and you could say that we do Rashi, we could do Tosfos. Pretty soon we're going to do a fat Tosfos. Where's this Rashi? Rashi says, "Vi kashya." Rashi the Ramasika loig shemesh al mitzora. It's one of the last Rashis. It's a long Rashi. Smack him Rashi. Rashi says, "Vi kashya." You have it. Hare korev mimenu liishim shari al mitzora boi moy v'chagav v'chashvin leim mimenu liishim b'shtei alechem shum kvasim. In other words, Rashi says that this luk shemen comes together with a carbon, and we said that if it has a partner, it's considered kol shemimenu liishim. Part of it goes on the mizbeach, and if part of it goes on the mizbeach, the whole thing becomes asur. So how could you say that the luk shemen of the mitzora could go on the mizbeach according to Rebbe Eliezer?
How does it do what?
You're not allowed to put the luk shemen on the mizbeach, according to this. Why? We just said enough community Rebbe Akiva and Rebbe Eliezer. You have a luk shemen of the mitzora. According to Rebbe Akiva, it's called a carbon. According to Rebbe Eliezer, it's not a carbon. You can put it on the mizbeach, or according to Ruvain, you can't put it on the mizbeach, but you don't get an isser. Fine. But how can you do it, as Rashi? How can you put it on the mizbeach according to Rebbe Eliezer? The luk shemen is not by itself. A mitzora brings other karbanos. Other karbanos you put on the mizbeach. If you put part of it on the mizbeach, then the rest of it, whatever it is, the rest of that carbon, including the oil that goes together with it, we said if it has a partner, the shtei alechem has a partner, the shtei kfasim that go on the mizbeach, then the shtei alechem are. Says Rashi, no, this is a big difference. That's why I wanted to point out this Rashi. It's a very Yisodistic Rashi. Says Rashi, haloi kasha. The asham l'shayr b'adei loig l'gamrei. There's two differences. When the mitzora brings the asham and he brings oil, it's not connected. It's not a partner. Why? A person can bring his luk shemen 100 days later. So if you can bring it later, it shows that it's not connected. Something's missing between the connection. If you don't have to bring it the same day, that they're not connected. And if they're not connected, just because I bring the asham on the mizbeach won't make this shemen usher to go on the mizbeach because they're not connected. And according to Rebbe Eliezer, I can bring the shemen on the mizbeach.
What do you want to do with the shemen?
Typically, it goes to the kohen. The question is, the kohen wants to be a tzaddik, and he wants to donate the shemen to Hashem. He puts it on his mizbeach. We said that if he does that with his steak, the chata steak, he's over Isser. The question is, does the same thing apply to the oil? Oil is the what?
He has to eat it.
He has to eat it. He doesn't have to eat it, but it's given to him, and don't give it to Hashem. Why? Because part of the chatas goes on the mizbeach for Hashem. So if part of it goes on the mizbeach for Hashem, you have no right to give anything else of that carbon to Hashem. Mimenu. Oil is different. Ask Rashi, why is it different? Part of it does go on the mizbeach, just like a chatas. Not part of the oil, but part of the carbon mitzvah goes on the mizbeach, which is the asham part.
What's the Kohen supposed to do with this oil?
Drink it, eat it, use it for eggs, cakes,
It's not
or take a bath in it. They used to
So it's
shampoo.
very connected, he can't. But if it's partially connected, like up to 10 days, then he can.
Right, because that's not that we learned that a bunch of times. It's not connected at all. The fact that I could give it one thing today and the other thing tomorrow, they're not connected at all. If they were connected, it would force me to do it today. It would force me one day. "20 minutes for 5 lines. Don't worry, we're going to start doing Taisus, it's going to be Geshmak. Zog to Gemara. Torah Rabbana. Sa'or bal taktiru einli elo kuloi miktsasim enayin. It says in the pasuk, Kichol sa'or v'chol devash lo yisaktiru. So what does this word kol mean? Kol means to say even partial, even part of it. Einli elo kuloi miktsasim enayin. Tamaloi mar kol. Eruva minayin. What if I take the sa'or, I take the yeast, and I mix it with the matzah. I mix it with something else. I can't tell that it is yeast.
So what's the kasha now? You bring in the mincha.
I bring the mincha.
And now what
It says I cannot put the sa'or on the mizbeach. What if I put part of the sa'or on the mizbeach? Let's say I did a kmitza. The kmitza, it's this amount. And I take half of that amount that I put on the mizbeach. Am I over? That's the shayla here. A half a shear. Am I over on a half a shear?
This is again, you're trying to be marked with the part that you're supposed to be eating.
No, not necessarily.
You're saying that
This is sa'or, this is chametz.
What's
I take chametz, you're not allowed to put chametz on the mizbeach. I take it, leave
the
it.
share.
Leave it. What's the shear? We're going to get to a second what the shear is. Here, we'll finish. You might understand it better. It's a little confusing right now. We're not there yet. How do I know part of the shear? How do I know that a mixture is also part of the isser? The word ki, highlighted. Ki, chol. My Omar, what is he talking about? The Gemara also doesn't understand what he's saying. Omar Abaye Omar. So Abaye and Rav are basically saying the same thing. There's a small nafkamina, but they're saying the same thing. The point is, there's a shear. What's a shear? Says Abaye, a kazayis. What if I take chatzi kazayis, chatzi zayis minayin? How do I know if I don't have the full shear? I took a half a zayis. I'm also over. Tamaloymar kol. Kol tells me even a half a shear. Eruva minayin. How do I know that it includes also a mixture, which I can't differentiate? I can't see the sa'or inside the mixture. Tamaloymar ki chol. The ki, the extra word ki, it tells me also a mixture. Rava amar hachi komar. So about the koimetz. Instead of him saying kizayis, Rava says kmitza. We're talking about kmitza here. So chatzi koimetz minayin, tamaloymar kol. Eruva minayin, tamaloymar ki kol. B'mai komifli. But at the end of the day, so he says koimetz, he says kizayis. But what's the difference? Abaye sova yesh koimetz pachas mishnei zeisim. Abaye holds, and we had this Gemara on Daf Chof Vav Amud Beis. A question: how much is the kmitza? Is it a koimetz or two kmat? Or is it a kizayis or two kizayim? And what's the nafkamina? Abaye sova yesh koimetz pachas mishnei zeisim. A kizayis is less than 2 zeisim, and therefore what? Mimela, if a kmitza is less than 2 zeisim, and the Torah tells me that half of that or part of that is also asur, so what does that tell me? Then the isser of being makdir, when the Torah says haktara, there is no shir to haktara. How can it be a shir to haktara? If the whole shir is 1 zayis, and I'm allowed to take part of that zayis and be over on haktara, that means that haktara, when the Torah tells me haktara, the Torah didn't limit me. There's no minimum. even less than a zayis, is part of the haktara, and I'll be over. Rava Omar, ein koimetz pachas m'shnei zaysim. And therefore, vein haktara p'chuzim zayis. Rava says, no, a kimitza has to be 2 zaysim. Yes, if you take part of the kimitza, you're over, but guess what? Part of the kimitza is a full zayis.
What if you have a small-handed coin?
And when we discussed that sugya, you just brought it up, thank you, you remind me. According to somebody over there, he's usher to work in any avoid at all. A kohen that has a very small hand. And then the Kilos Yankiv said that Memele b'dereinu all kohanim apostle, because nobody has 2. Remember, that was that whole sugya. Very good. Thanks for bringing that up. I completely forgot that. If he has a small hand, he's puzzle. Says the Minchas Chinuch or somebody, Oy Bazoi, if he has a small hand, he's puzzle for all avodas. He can't do shchita. If he can't do kmitza, he can't do shchita.
Shchita you could, because Zar is also...
Oh, thank you. Not shchita Yom Kippur. Not shchita Yom Kippur. And Memela, he can't do anything. He can't do k'toros. And then came along the stipler, I believe, and said, but he measured our hands, and nobody in our door has this, so we have a major problem. Unless he has, then I said NBA players, they might have, fine.
According to the Chazonish's show.
That's why
Also
you,
you.
that's why you said
That's in parentheses. Zodi Yemara, Itmar. Hamala Misaor Umidvash Agab Amizbeach. Somebody went ahead and he took the yeast and the dates. We're talking about mamish big tzaddikim here. They want to see how many averes that can be over in one shot. So he takes the yeast and he takes the date. He brings it on the mizbeach.
It comes from a good place. They're trying to be more to Kosh Baruch.
Who?
They're trying to be tzaddik harbe. They're trying to give more to Kosh Baruch.
Yeah, right.
It's not happening yet.
Fine. He's mamish. He's melamed schus on everybody.
Amarava.
Misor udvash al gabi mizbeach. Amarava. Loike mishum sor. Now. Loike mishum sor. Veloike mishum devash. Loike mishum eruve sor. Umishum eruve devash. Says the Gemara, according to Rava, he's chayiv 4 malchus. 1 for sor, because it says kichol sor, and 1 for devash, because it says kichol devash, and 1 for the mixture. Now Tosfos just asked a question real quickly. He says, wait a minute, what's going on here? If it's a mixture, so then it's not sor and it's not devash, so it's a mixture. If it's sor by itself, then it's not a mixture, and if it's a mixture, then it's not sor. So Tosfos learns actually that he did all 3. He took a pad, he took some big bowl. He had in one part he had a date, the other part he had yeast, and then another part he had all both of them to mix together. He had 3 because that mixture is 2. It says sar is over in the ear of sar, kichol dvash. That one mixture is over in 2. And Rashi doesn't agree. Yeah. Abaya Omar, ein loikin alav shebeklolois. Comes Abaya, and this is a yisoid for all of Shas. It's a machlokes in Shas. Abaya says that if you have a bunch of lavin bunched up together, you don't get malchus. Now, you don't get it all. Abai would admit that you get 1 out of the 4, but at least he gets 1. You don't even get 1, you get 0. So the Gemara says, according to this man Omar, it says in the pasuk like this: when it comes to Malchus, this is the pasuk of Malchus. This is pasuk Gimel. In pasuk Dalet it says Loisachsim Shor B'Dishoy. So just like Loisachsim Shor B'Dishoy, it's very obvious. It's 1 Shor B'Dishoy. You're not allowed to put a muzzle on him. So everything else, any lav in the Torah has to be similar to Loisachsim Shor B'Dishoy. You can't mix up lavim. You can't have 4 lavim. It's 1 lav. Loisachsim Shor B'Dishoy. That's it. You can't add lavim to it. And if you add any more lavim, you make this into 2 lavim, you potter completely. This pasuk doesn't apply only if it's like this pasuk, which is 1 single lav.
First
Now,
one that he did.
Now, not Yishkoyach.
The first one that he
You want to go home? You can go home. It's fine.
It was a lot. No?
What?
The first time he put it up, now it's a lot right there. He's chayav right there. That's a clear lot.
Yeah, but he added to it. He did.
That's that though.
No, what do you mean?
Sore.
But it's all together. It's Menachos. It's one thing. One mixture. According to Rashi, for sure, it's one mixture.
Before the mixer. First
Now-
he brought sore.
No, he brought Sar and then 5 minutes later he brought Davash. Of course he's chayiv too.
It's not together.
If it's together, it's together. It's Hamal v'Sor Yachad Agam Mizbeach. He did it together. He brought it together. I said it's in one plate according to Tosfos. According to Rashi, it's for sure. It's just one mixture. It's for sure together. Now let's do Tosfos real quickly. One, it's very very good. It's a very you're gonna love this Tosfos. Ein loikim alav shebeklos. It's a large Tosfos, but then again, you can tell everybody we learn Tosfos in here. It's Rashi's Tosfos, the whole thing.
That's what's important.
Yes, what you can tell other people.
That's good.
No, but you're actually also going to like it. This goes through all of Shas. When do you say lav shebeklolis, when not? It's very gishmak. Says Tosfos like this. Eruvei sa'or ve'eruvei dvash. It's very important to understand what's going on here in this Gemara. Eruvei sa'or ve'eruvei dvash. The nafki michol mikichol choshev lav shebeklolis. Tosfos, by the way, Rashi says the same exact thing as Tosfos. I'm just reading it in Tosfos, but Rashi agrees to Tosfos. That what? That lav shebeklos, the Gemara is saying here that he did a bunch of lavim together, is only referring to a ruvei sa'or, ve'ruvei dvash, the mixture part. But on the two things, the sa'or and the dvash, that he brings up on the mizbeach together, even though it's two lavim, says Tosfos, he's over on two malchus. Yeah?
He's chayiv, man.
He's chayiv two malchus. It's two. So that's what Tosfos is going to go explain here. When do you say that he's chayiv two, and when do you say he's not chayiv at all? V'chein lav dechi im tzli eish. By Korban Pesach it says that you can't have, it has to be broiled.
And the Gemara then was only referring to the ear proof.
Exactly. When we say lav shebeklolos, Abaye was only talking about 2 out of the 4 he's not chayiv. He's chayiv 2 out of the 4, he's not chayiv 4. Rava said he's chayiv 4 times malchus. Says Abaye, no, he's only chayiv 2. So we have by Korban Pesach, Rabbi called over she'eno itzli eish kigoin no umevushol. Over there, you'd be chayiv if you ate 2 things together. You ate something that was cooked and something that was raw. You'd be chayiv 2. It says in the pasuk zog v'chartzon, so you'd be chayiv 2. V'chein ki nefesh hu choyvel degabi rechaim v'rechav. By a malva, it says you're not allowed to take the mashkoin rechaim v'rochev, so you're chayiv on 2 if you do take it. Aval so'er udvash gufayu, says Tosfos, aval gav dechad lav ksiv v'tarvayu l'choshev lav shebeklolos. Very, very important Tosfos. Without this, you'd be missing a huge part of the sugya. If you got up and went home at 10:2, you'd miss this whole thing. That what? That even though the Torah says ki chol sa'or v'chol dvash lo yisaktiru, and the lo yisaktiru, there's only one lo yisaktiru, one lav on 2 things, you're chayiv 2 lavim. Why? And then Tosfos explains. I said this, right? The lav they do, the loisaktiru goes on each and every lav in that pasuk. Rabbi Yoshe says you need the word oi. Over here by us it doesn't say oi sor, oi dvash. It says kichol sor v'chol dvash. So what do I do? Maybe I need, according to Rabbi Yoshe, he has to do both of them. He has to do Sa'or and Dvash in order to be Chayiv 2. Or to be Chayiv 1. The Sa'or Dvash v'no mevushal ksiv behu mimenu. It says mimenu, which is a Lashon Yochid. Even one of the 2. Mimenu. It doesn't say mehem. It says mimenu. V'nozanami miksiv chatzanim va'ad zog. Va'ad, says Tosfos, is also like as if it would say oi. V'lo ksiv chatzanim v'zog. Miu kosher. Mino mevushal. Di mimenu ksiv behu ha'pesach koi. So it says Tosfos, by Korban Pesach, it says the word mimenu. It does say mimenu, but it's referring to the Korban Pesach and not to the no mevushal. So by no mevushal, I don't have the word mimenu. So how do I know that I don't have to do both of them according to Rabbi Yoshe? That's a problem. He stays. That's an issue. V'rechaim v'rochav, and here he says very interesting that by v'rechaim v'rochav, how do you spell it? V'rochav. It's 2 commas under the vav and under the reish. Midoloi karinan v'rechav. If it would say v'rechav, it would mean and. Rechaim and Rechav. Since this is Varachav, it's a stop. It says Rechaim and a whole new halacha Varachav. Fine. Rechaim Birish Rashi. We can skip. Where? Oh, sorry. Vim Toimar. V'mayim mechayiv trei. Why should be chayiv too? If somebody eats two pieces of meat, one is from a live animal and one is treifa, he's only chayiv one. How come that's different than our sugya where you chayiv two on sa'or and on dvash? Mishum lemechad lav nafki. They both learned out of one lav, and over here by sa'or and dvash, it's also leisaktiru. It's one lav. Yishloimar kivin sheisumu furashim pasakoy lav akolecha ve'echad. If somebody marries, a kohen marries an almana who's also grusha, who's also a halal and a zoyna, he's chayiv 4 lavim. Because the loyikach is in all 4. By us also, loysaktiro is in all 2, on sa'or and dvash. So how come over there by treifa it's different? The guf echadu. By treifa says Tosfos, I learn out treifa, the menachai from treifa. It says, what's the lashon over there? Basar basar treifa, and not treifa basar basar. So mela, that's how we learn out. But it's not because it says mefurish. Fine. Let's jump to Vim Toimar. Uma ben zog v'chartzo no muvush v'rochaim v'rochav sori udvash almonu grush v'chol. You have it? Like 3-4 lines from the end. How come? So this is also big yisoid Tosfos brings down in Shas. How come when it comes to chaylev, it doesn't? If you eat a chaylev of a keves and chaylev of another animal, you chayv only 1. And how come all of a sudden by us you chayv 2 for sa'or and dvash? And then almana you chayv for 4. V'chein lechem mikoli v'charmel on chodosh, the isser of chodosh, you're over on 2. V'chein ma'aseh dagam tirish v'yitzar the leloki elchad idlav mishum yitura. It seems like because it's double psukim, that's why you chayiv on all of them. Otherwise you wouldn't. V'shloimar the zog v'charzen shtei shemois ninu. Very good says so. Big yisoid. Sa'or and dvash are obviously 2 separate things. Memeli you chayiv 2 lavim, but chaylev is 1. And Tosfos brings a beautiful raya. Teda dechi osi latrui behem tzorch la'aske kolecha b'shmoi. Tosfos says when you come to be, you give asra to somebody, say don't eat chaylev. That's all you have to say. You don't have to say don't eat chaylev of a cow, don't eat chaylev of a goat. Don't eat. He says one time don't eat chaylev. Memele is only chayiv 1 korban, 1 malchus. But by us he must say don't eat sa'ar, and he must say don't eat dvash. Memele the hasra shows us that's 2 separate things. And Memele is chayiv 2. So again, when Abaye says lav shebaklolis, you don't get malchus on a bunch of different lavim, he's talking about lavim that are not mefurish in the Torah, such as Eruv. That going back to our sugya, Eruv, the mixture doesn't say mefurish in the Torah. Don't mix it. We learned that from Kichol. But it's mefurish in the Torah, Sa'ar and Devash, that you get malchus on each and every one. Have a great day. Yeah.